On December 1st, 2023, the movie Lady Ballers was released to the public, attempting to answer the time-old question, what if a movie was bad? And since it's Pride Month, I figured what better time to eviscerate a piece of media made solely to make people scared of a non-existent problem. For those of you unaware, Lady Ballers, the self-professed
most triggering comedy of the year,
is a movie funded by The Daily Wire, a media company founded by the internet's favorite sentient well-actually meme, Ben Shapiro. This attempted comedy tells the story of a men's basketball team pretending to be trans women in order to dominate the field of women's sports. So you can imagine what the not at all subtle underlying story of this movie is. About a half a year ago, I covered the anti-woke Christmas movie Jingle Smells, so I figured for Pride Month, why not cover its much more infamous cousin? I know I'm about 2 years late to the chase, and there's been other YouTube videos that have already talked about this movie, but also I thought I was ahead of the curve with Jingle Smells, only for Curtis Connor to post a video about it literally 30 minutes before me. Great video, by the way. I do highly recommend watching both. So I figured there is no perfect time, so let's just have some fun. For anyone new here, hi, I'm Blake. A lot of y'all think my name is Jake. It's not. I don't even identify as a Jake. I'm just mentally prepping you right now because that is half the jokes in this movie. Now, many of you might be wondering, Blake, why not choose positivity for Pride Month? Why not uplift queer voices in video games and movies instead? Well, one, because I think we should be doing that all year round, not just for 1 month out of the year. Ally, who's also gay. And more importantly, two, I thought it would be really, really funny to use this as an opportunity to raise money for a trans charity. So as we go through this movie, I am going to be using a counter called Things That Literally Have Never Happened Ever. Every time this movie uses the backwoods old reliable of making up a problem and getting mad about it, I am going to add $15 to this counter. And whatever final amount we get to, that is going to be how much I donate to Trans Lifeline, a nonprofit organization offering support for transgender people in the US and Canada. And why $15, you may ask? Because I already wrote the script and I know how high this counter gets, so I do need to be able to afford my rent still. And one final note before we start, I am viscerally aware that I have to toe a very careful line because this is a quote-unquote comedy. I'm sure there will be many a person who would be thrilled to comment something along the lines of, can't you guys take a joke? How did you not see that that was comedy? Jesus, you guys take everything so seriously. And to those people, I would like to say, I get the comedy, I just also understand the true intentions of this movie. If there's ever a moment where it looks like I'm not recognizing the satire, which using the word satire is very generous for this movie, it's only because there is for sure someone in rural bum New Hampshire watching this movie saying, yeah, that's exactly what it's like. There's always a spit bucket. So if you want Peepaw to take this movie as factual evidence against trans people in sports, guess what? You also get Jaded Gay Guy Movie Review. It's a double-edged sword, diva. So enough prefacing, let's talk Lady Ballers. Now, a bit of backstory. Lady Ballers, as previously discussed, was released on December 1st, 2023 on Daily Wire Plus. Daily Wire Plus is a streaming service that originally was meant to make movies that have no political leaning. But after making 3 movies in a row that sucked ass, they decided to say, fuck it, let's go back to politics. Now, originally, Lady Ballers was intended to be a documentary, following a group of men who would claim to be trans in order to expose how easy it was to take advantage of the existing systems in women's sports.
I'd actually suggested to the Grain Boys that they do this as a doc.
Yes.
I originally went to them and I said, you guys should go try out for a bunch of ladies' leagues.
Only they had to scrap the idea almost immediately when they found out how much actually goes into being a trans athlete.
And that became not possible because, as it turns out, most ladies' leagues don't allow in actual men. And they weren't willing to go the full distance in terms of what it would require in order to, the actual hormone treatments and everything to play in some of the ladies' leagues.
Things like the amount of time they've been on HRT, very closely checking their hormone levels, having to give out large amounts of medical history, and don't even get me started on the mental toll from public scrutiny. So they decided to pivot and make Lady Ballers a fictional comedy because they realized if they wanted to make a documentary on how easy it was to be a trans athlete in the United States, that documentary would never get made. And just like that, we've already racked up $15 for Trans Lifeline. Good on you, divas. The movie is directed by and stars the other owner of the Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring. And believe me when I say this is the Chekhov's last name of this movie because, oh my God, I was not mentally prepared for how dull it is. Because as we all know, when the director also decides to star in the movie they're directing, fate plays the world's most unsettling coin toss. Because if done right, you get things like Citizen Kane, Argo, A Star is Born, all classics in the cinematic sphere. And if done poorly, you get this.
Lady Ballers. Man up.
I know I already sound vitriolic about this movie, but I cannot emphasize enough how absolutely poorly made it is. Even the IMDb reviews agree with me. On the one hand, you've got your 1s and 10s like we did for Jingle Smells. If you're thinking with your politics, this makes sense. Mega transphobes are gonna give this movie a 10, and people who do not make their family extremely uncomfortable at every Thanksgiving dinner are gonna give it a 1. But where I see the cracks in this movie are in the 5s, 6s, and 7s in the reviews. Because if your audience, who is almost entirely comprised of people expected to give unwavering support to whatever slop you push shout, gives you a 5, you made a bad movie. Even people who don't find this movie extremely offensive are saying things such as it is what it is, good only once, and meh. So I think I've set the stage more than long enough, so let's see what makes this movie so very, very meh. So our story begins with a flashback to 2008 in Tennessee. At a basketball game with high school one-act play lighting, apparently. Seriously, that's not how any basketball game has ever been lit. The gym is filled with cheerleaders in their late 20s and an audience of extras that literally were not informed of the kind of movie they were taking part in and later protested it. Off to such a strong start. The Tigers basketball team is losing at the halftime buzzer, and our main character, Coach Rob, played by Boring, expresses his anger in the only way a Daily Wire subscriber knows how. The team goes back to their locker room, assaults the towel boy, a woke metaphor perhaps, and participates in a homoerotic confrontation, already exposing that the writers of this film only watch Marvel movies and porn.
You call that a pass? You call that a catch? Your mom's a catch.
You can tell the set is cheap because the lockers move at the slightest touch.
Coach Rob begins to talk with his team, and it's at this point that I'm slapped in the face with the biggest realization.
It means no scholarship to Michigan.
But Michigan's my dream.
Scholarship? Are these supposed to be high schoolers? This one literally looks like Timu Elon Musk. What do you mean he's trying to get a scholarship to Michigan? Whatever, I guess they got their casting inspiration from Glee. Which unfortunately does mean I do have to give them some points. During this talk, he also says that if they don't win, 2 of the students won't have a chance with another girl in the school.
But you can kiss your chances with Rebecca Vanderkamp goodbye. Damn!
I feel like a coach meddling in the romantic life of 2 of his high school students is something that the we just want to protect the kids party would not be a fan of, but I digress. So Coach Rob stands up and through what can only be 7 layers of foundation to try to make him look younger, gives the rousing speech that will motivate them to win the game.
That I could by dint of my rhetoric alone so stir the hearts of my team. That by the virtue of my soaring oratory alone.
He just said the same thing twice, but you can tell the writers thought they ate with these lines, so they didn't want to cut one of them. A sign of a great script. It's also during this speech that I start to notice the height difference of Mr. Boring compared to the rest of these actors. And do not get me wrong, I personally adore a short king. Hello, Shane Top from Smosh. But all I'm saying is that I do not think this movie would have ever been made if Mr. Boring's height started with a 6. So now, newly inspired from the pep talk, the basketball team goes on to play at their absolute best over the opening credits of this movie. Now, it's at this point you may notice they did not bother giving the characters a different name from the actor for half the cast, and this is because half the cast are not actors. They're mid-sized right-wing YouTubers. Mr. Boring admitted himself on film that it was almost impossible to find legit actors to fill these roles.
And literally every single actor that we went out to for every single role told us no.
I wonder why. The other half of the cast I can only assume were at least slightly ashamed to be in this movie, but also they probably needed the work to keep their medical insurance. Wow, another American problem that the woke left wants to fix, whoever would have guessed. So the team wins and Coach Rob is greeted by his wife, who, don't worry, they made sure to put in makeup and costume so she looks exactly 18.00000001 years old. They then begin to make out in front of his high school team, who are applauding him. But sure, keep that queer stuff out of my face. I don't know why they have to be so sexual around kids all the time, am I right? I would also like to remind everybody that the 45-year-old man currently making out with a woman made to look like a high schooler is the director of this movie, clearly taking inspiration from the Tarantino school of self-casting for the sole purpose of getting off. No, guys, she has to look a lot younger than the coach. You don't understand. It's my vision. I'm the director here. You wouldn't get it. Okay, this movie really does stink. But you know what doesn't stink? Me. Because I'm currently wearing a fragrance from today's sponsor, Scentbird. Scentbird is a fragrance subscription service that allows you to select new scents every month to try out from some of the biggest names in the game. Classy. For example, the fragrances I picked out this month include the bold herb and wood notes of Joseph Aboud's Dark Woods.
These woods are so dark.
The uplifting watery aroma of House of Beau's Oro Verde.
Stay hydrated.
And the one I'm sporting today, the refreshing, earthy tones of Intenso by Dolce & Gabbana.
That's the brand she couldn't spell on Devil Wears Prada.
And all of them come in a cute, convenient travel size case that you can change at will.
Magnetic.
In all seriousness, I can't even begin to tell you how excited I was to get this sponsorship because I adore fragrances. Every day I do a little spritz on each shoulder and one in my hair before going out, and I get compliments all the time on how good I smell. And want further proof that I love Scentbird? I literally gave my mom a subscription to them years ago as a gift.
Queen Donna.
So what are you waiting for? Check the link in my description, use code Blake55, and get your first fragrance for only $8.97. And your second month will only be $17.95.
That's a steal.
Thank you again so much to Scentbird Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. So flash forward and it's 15 years later, where a much more biblically accurate looking Mr. Boring as Coach Rob is teaching a new class who is clearly uninterested. But worry not, they are blaming the phones and not the fact that Coach Rob is overtly racist to his students.
Please don't steal my catalytic converter again on your way out.
You can't talk to us like that.
Hey, buddy, you dropped your cordless reciprocating saw.
See, you guys, racists were right. That's why I had to make up this scenario for a movie that I'm directing. Anyway, let's just give some more money to a trans charity. Also, side note, there's literally nothing happening on the gym floor, and yet there's these random people in their 40s in the bleachers staring out as if they're watching something. So Coach Rob is late to pick up his daughter because unfortunately, making the protagonist of this movie a deadbeat dad does make him more relatable to their target audience. Now, on the car ride to pick his daughter up, he is berated by his boss for being overtly racist to his students.
You can't tell a bunch of teenage boys not to steal.
And good old Coach Rob fires back, saying,
Yes, you can, Gary. It's literally in the Bible.
Separation of church and state aside, the exact same commandments that you are quoting also say, "Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor," when this entire movie is just one giant false witness against trans people in sports. So Coach Rob is fired, which we're supposed to believe is a ridiculous outcome, and he picks up his daughter from school with a massive smoke trail following him because his catalytic converter did get stolen. See guys, Coach Rob was right to be racist, and that's why black people. The school is riddled with signs about social distancing, and he can't hear the teacher because she is triple masked. You know, in late 2023. It was never something to be mad about in the first place, but they literally will never let it go. He asks her to take off her mask, and she immediately starts coughing from the smoke, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is proving that masks are effective. Great job, writers. So on the ride home, his daughter recounts what they learned today about the Cold War and about
all the workers exploited by the capitalistic system.
We are then introduced to the big, bad, scary event of the movie.
Oh, and Mary Margaret showed me her penis.
Yes, apparently a 4th grade trans student in suburban Tennessee showed his daughter her penis in a public school bathroom. I'm just gonna show you the highlights from this scene, and Trans Lifeline, just know you're about to get some coins, diva.
Well, why are they letting boys in the girls' bathroom?
Why do you keep misgendering Mary Margaret?
Misgendering? What are you talking about?
It's very transphobic of you.
How do you know the word transphobic?
I'm 8 years old.
So he dropped off his daughter at his wife's house because they have separated. Surprise, our relatable right-wing hero is divorced. Fork found in kitchen. The house is riddled in signs that have literally never been put up in front of a house ever, which they also didn't keep consistent between shots. Oh my God. We are then greeted by his ex-wife's new man, Chris, who is played by none other than Matt, 16-year-old should get pregnant because that's when they're most fertile, Walsh. And let me just say, played by is being used very liberally here. It's just Matt Walsh in a wig. He is literally just reading lines.
I was wondering if you'd like to help me train for the Nashville runs.
He mentions that there's a race that he wants Rob to train him for and that the grand prize is $5,000. Rob then storms off in frustration, and we are met with an absolutely garbage transition. So Coach Rob goes to a CD store that he worked at 25 years ago in order to get a new job after just being fired as a coach. You know, for being racist. Only to find that it's been turned into a drag-themed restaurant in Nashville, Tennessee. And might I just add, it's not drag, it's men in wigs. They threw the wig in the air, ran under it, and however it landed, they were like, that's the look. But at this drag Hooters, he sees that the lead player of his old basketball team, Alex, is one of the waitresses.
Coach?
Alex?
And they grab a drink together supposedly after Coach Rob has finished his first shift at this restaurant, which I gotta say is surprisingly woke because even in gay circles, drag queens and beards is still kind of a controversial topic for some. Not me though, just let it be known. Work, diva.
I just had no idea men could be so handsy. Really makes you think about how you treat women. Thanks, babe.
See, that joke would be funny if y'all didn't actually do that to women. Like, I don't find this insightful or empathetic because the call is coming from inside the writer's room. So we find out that Alex landed in this position because he wanted to be an actor, only to find out—
Turns out white male of non-exotic sexuality is the only ethnic group not being cast by Hollywood these days.
Alex mentions that he's still pretty fast like in his high school days, and they go out back to check his speed and see if he'd be good enough to win the $5,000 prize money in that upcoming race that was previously mentioned. We then get a shot of Alex running at what I can only describe as an aggressively normal saunter. Like that man's hair doesn't even move when he runs by him. He's not going fast. But apparently the time is good enough that Alex and Coach Rob decide to enter the race. So we cut to the day of the big race and Coach Rob is going to register Alex. But being the deadbeat dad that he is, Coach Rob is of course late to sign up. So the registration lady, covered in pro-trans pins at a non-queer centered event in Nashville, Tennessee, feels threatened when Coach Rob says,
"That's bullshit.
I will tase a white man."
Yeah.
Alex then shows up, still in his wig because he was just finishing a shift, and the registration lady gives Alex all the materials he needs for all the upcoming events without even checking his name because she believes that Alex is a trans woman.
And you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and waive that entry fee.
So Alex first participates in the 100-meter sprint, and it is not lost on me that everybody competing against him is melanated. I don't think it's really my place to preach heavily on this part, but I do feel like there's an underlying evil there. So after an extremely heavy edit to make it look like Alex is running so much faster than the others, he wins the race by an incredibly large margin. This catches the attention of the local news, and they show all the events that Alex beat women in that day. Particularly in the shot put event, for some reason they decide to insult the female athletes that this movie is supposed to be quote-unquote protecting by showing a lineup of girls with horrible form who can barely throw the shot put more than 2 feet away. The news anchors then question Alex's gender and are immediately, mid-broadcast, carried off to tolerance training.
And we should all celebrate the brave, beautiful woman who did it.
So the duo wins their $5,000, and Coach Rob keeps $4,500 of it to himself because of
Taxes, attorney's fees, child support.
It's honestly kind of fascinating to me that for this triggering comedy, they managed to, in a single line, make a commentary on both the wage gap and the deadbeat dads that this side for some reason idolizes. And because right-wing media has never shown an ounce of restraint in their entire lives, Alex mentions how he now is sponsored by Bud Light.
What is that?
Bud Light. I'm sponsored now.
They'll give that to any dude in a dress.
Because, of course, they have to make a joke about Dylan Mulvaney, who, to my knowledge, has not touched a sport-related ball in her entire life. She literally just finished a run of Six the Musical on Broadway. Find a new joke. So the reporter shows up and says that she shamelessly wants to help them with the upcoming global games so she can use this story to gain power and notoriety.
I'm a journalist. I literally cannot be shamed.
The writing in this movie is so unbearably on the nose. I'm pretty sure on the day that their teacher was explaining what an allegory is, the writers of this movie were too busy drawing those stupid S symbols on their desk.
Men are faster, stronger, meaner.
You can literally see the actress's soul leave her body as she says that.
You want us to compete as women?
Think of the sponsorships. Think of the fame.
People will hate us.
People will love you because I'm going to tell them to.
And don't worry, this is still a right-leaning movie because of course the coach having a good day also entails him having sex with a much younger woman.
You're a winner now. Every woman wants a winner.
Between this and Jingle Smells, once again, I cannot state this enough, 80% of the media consumed by the writers of these movies is porn. Example A. That counts as sodomy, by the way. That thing you claim to hate. Also, complete side note, but the lava lamp they're using in this shot is not moving at all, and for some reason that just makes it look so nasty. Inspired by the prospects of fame, money, and getting to sleep with barely legal women, Coach Rob and Alex decide to scout their old basketball team in order to compete in the global games as a team of trans women. First, they recruit the 2 homoerotic half-brothers who are now used car salesmen. Wait, run that back. Who's that cameraman there?
Should have gone to med school.
Wait, that's Jingle Smells. That's literally the guy that played Jingle Smells. It's all connected. Now you're probably wondering what convinced them to join the team, but nothing in a million years could prepare you for what their motivation was to pick up the ball.
When was the last time you got laid?
We're in.
Their next recruit is David, aka Timu Elon Musk, who is now living as a hermit in the woods and wearing a ghillie suit and what I can only describe as the director's barely disguised passion to have blackface in this movie. So the team just needs one more member to compete, so they go through their old list of teammates. At first, they want to recruit their old teammate Jamal, but apparently he is dead because...
Found him in the middle of the street with a hole through the top of his head. Cops said it was almost like some type of laser from space.
So we're just admitting to police brutality here? Like, the joke is that the police lied and there wasn't a laser from outer space, like a hole through his head. Obviously, yeah, they did it. But like, that part is so confusing to me because that joke only works if you're against it, and I don't think these people are that against it or recognize it exists. Next, they consider their old Jewish teammate, Moishe. I f***ing hate these writers. But that doesn't work because...
Revealed he was Mossad, even back in high school.
Mossad? Israel's National Intelligence and Espionage Agency? Would making a joke about Mossad infiltrating an American high school not be bad PR? Whose side are these people on? I'm so confused. But it doesn't matter, I guess, whatever. Anyway, they decide that they're going to recruit in a last-ditch effort their old towel boy Felix. But not before plugging an ad for Jeremy's Razors.
These Jeremy's Razors are amazing.
Did you know that Jeremy's now offers a razor specially designed for women?
Which I fully thought was just a joke, but it turns out Jeremy's Razors literally sponsored this movie.
And don't forget about Jeremy's shampoo.
The joke being a self-aware ad in a feature film is not good comedic writing. Like, not to discredit what's literally funding my life right now, but this is a feature film. It's not a YouTube video. So the team goes to the house of the now very, very wealthy Felix, and he immediately agrees to join the team because he is still absolutely obsessed with all of them, to the point of dropping one of his greatest passions, cats.
I love her more than anything in the whole world.
Bro, I'm allergic to cats.
There's a Trump joke somewhere in there about morals being thrown out the window the second their idols say anything, but to quote my script directly, I've watched this movie 3 times now, and I don't have the mental fortitude to write a lengthy moral parallel in this moment. During his mansion tour, Felix reveals that he has a basketball court where the team can practice. And after a bunch of middle school humor followed by a fight sequence of which I'm going to spare you the details,
Welcome to Epstein's Island. You know too much.
Coach Rob and the reporter walk into the gym. It's at this point that I should mention that the reporter is also played by a right-wing influencer and not someone with actual stage or film experience. And I could have told you that before checking her IMDb because of a detail that you are now going to notice every time you see a bad actor in a movie. The walk. For some reason, novice actors, the second you tell them to walk normally, forget how to walk normally. Coach Rob then explains to the rest of the team what his master plan is, which is of course for them to all pretend to be trans women. And he does this via a sequence of pantomiming that I guess would be funny if you were 12. And the team of course throws an absolute fit. I don't know where Alex got popcorn or why he's holding it in this present moment. But after a half attempt at comedy via soliloquy, Coach Rob convinces them all to pretend to be transgender to compete in the global games, and they decide to name themselves the Lady Ballers. During this time, the ex-wife comes by to drop off his daughter. I don't know how either of them got into Felix's mansion, but Coach Rob realizes he can use his daughter's woke knowledge in order to teach his team how to properly pretend to be trans women. You know, the knowledge that the daughter got from a public school in Nashville, Tennessee. Also, spoilers, but it probably shouldn't come as a shock to any of you. They don't use any of this knowledge later in the movie. They just show up on the court in wigs, and then later games, they stop using the wigs even. But literally none of that matters because the writers just wanted an excuse to do this. They have one joke.
But what if they like go back and forth?
Oh, that's called gender fluid.
So these people do know what gender fluid means. They just like to pretend that it's confusing. Got it. Got it. I would also like to add that the party of Protect the Children is having a child stand in front of a whiteboard right now that says wieners or no wieners. These people believe in literally nothing, but we already knew that.
Coach, what is a woman?
Matt Walsh came in his pants when he saw that part of the script, but don't worry, they do answer the question.
Guys, it's easy. Women are just like men, only better. Just shave your legs, tell each other how brave you are for things that require absolutely no physical courage, and don't be afraid to cry at work. Easy peasy.
And herein lies the real motive behind literally all of this. They don't hate trans women, they hate women. And this is just their excuse to say it loudly and proudly without the risk of paying alimony. So it's the first day of the tryouts for the global games, and the Lady Ballers finally step onto the court. At a whopping 55 minutes and 32 seconds into the film. I got one word for those writers. Edit. Also, complete side note, but I absolutely love when a bigoted actor puts on a wig and is so obviously feeling himself but pretends it's for the sake of comedy. Like, sister, you like the wig a little. We all know you feel bonita. But when they look out into the audience, they notice that there is nobody there because...
Ladies basketball, boys. Nobody watches.
Just say you hate women. Just say you hate women. It's so much easier than making an entire movie. But anyway, this game is refereed by an absolute nightmare of a cameo. You guessed it, Ben Shapiro.
All right, ladies, keep it clean. Keep it tucked.
I love the implication that Ben Shapiro had to learn what tucking is. We then get a montage of the Lady Ballers dominating the opposing team and using moves that are illegal in basketball regardless of how you identify. And the opposing team's coach tries to throw a fit only to be interrupted by referee Ben Shapiro.
Technical, and you shut the f up, transphobic mother.
How much do you want to bet he coughed up blood after having to say the word transphobic with sincerity on film? It should also be noted that the most triggering film of the year censored the F word.
Shut the f up, transphobic mother.
Like, that wasn't my doing. That was literally just cooked into the film. So the reporter shares footage of them playing on social media, and it is bombarded with fanfares of unwavering praise. And I know it's probably a long shot that there's any professional trans athletes watching this video because there's so few of them. So I'm just gonna broaden this and say trans people in general. When is the last time you posted something online that garnered a little bit of attention and received 100% positive feedback from it? Show of hands. Anyone? Didn't think so. Anyway, so because the target audience of this movie only understands social media when it's riddled with blue check bots from India, they want us to believe that her social media post causes the stadium to be flooded with people during the exact same game that she's posting about. Which I guess they're trying to paint a picture of like everybody's just like a sycophant to trans people in sports. But also this kind of paints a picture that trans people in sports garners larger audiences, which would lead to more ticket sales. I think they got their messaging mixed up a little bit here. So the Lady Ballers win, and everybody seems to be impressed except for Coach Rob's ex-child bride, to the point where everyone is praising them on social media.
Have you seen the reaction on social? We're heroes.
I know I've already talked about this, but I feel like it warrants another $15 for the trans lifeline because this is just absolutely ludicrous. So Timu Elon Musk starts to feel a little bit guilty about the situation.
Aren't we just using our innate strength to wail on a bunch of girls in a competition where we wouldn't stand a chance against other men?
A line written with any subtlety in this movie would have made the writers' heads explode. But that is immediately interrupted by the reporter who climbs onto Coach Rob, licks his face, and tells him,
"Put a baby in me."
I once again remind you that Coach Rob is the director of this movie, and is the only character that is ever in any sexual situations with women. Younger women. So the team members each get offers for various opportunities such as Maybelline, Nike, and speaking at the White House a mere 15 minutes after their first game ever. So they decide they're going to play every sport they possibly can in the global games to garner as many sponsorships as possible. We are then subjected to a montage of all the team members winning various sports and finding a publicly acceptable way to antagonize and objectify women on film. Again, this bit would have so much more impact if your side didn't ruin women's lives all the time like it was a competitive sport. We of course also get a Riley Gaines cameo because this woman has been perpetually unemployed since she tied for 5th with a trans woman and decided that was worse than the Vietnam War. And don't you worry, we get another Dylan Mulvaney joke because these people only know one trans person.
I love you, girl. How'd I do, ladies?
Dylan, if you ever see this, God bless the coins you have made from these people being physically unable to go a single day without uttering your name. May your investments continue to flourish. May you be able to retire at 40. We then, in a stunning display of cinematography, are given another montage after we just finished the first montage. Only this time, it's them finding different ways to hit women in the face with their crotch. No, you see, I directed it like that because that's what it's like in the real world. It's not, and you directed a bunch of men to throw their crotches in women's faces on film, you maladapted troglodyte. And because they literally just can't help themselves, they also show Felix playing girls t-ball because Felix also identifies as trans age. Mind you, the little girls playing in this game are also too old to be playing t-ball. You stop playing t-ball after like 1st grade. These girls are at least in 5th grade. Maybe if you spent a little bit more time at your child's games instead of making slop like this, you would know that. Admittedly, that one part did get me. I hate the messaging, but the Foley artist did kind of eat there. So next they have a quick interview with the BDSM non-actor reporter.
Some would say they were boys back then.
Well, anyone who would say that doesn't understand science.
Yes! That part's actually true! But anyway, the interview ends and they all head out for the day.
Don't stay up all night. I'm always fresh, girl.
She kept the wig after filming this movie, I just know she did. So we're now at the women's basketball semifinals of the Global Games, and the Lady Ballers are not playing at their best because of all the sports they've been competing in outside of basketball. We then get arguably the most rancid cameo in this entire film. Texas Senator Ted Cruz tries to sit next to child bride ex-wife and leaves.
Excuse me, are these seats open?
And may I just say, as a native Texan, I can all but guarantee that Ted Cruz was ignoring a major statewide crisis in order to film this in Nashville, Tennessee. But anyway, the Lady Ballers barely win and morale is low. Coach Rob's daughter walks in and leaves him with a bombshell admission that she wants to be a boy because
boys are better at everything.
She then begins to list all the things that boys are better at, such as sports, driving, STEM fields, opening pickle jars. Dear God, I feel so bad for this child actor. And Coach Rob, being Coach Rob, tries to convince his daughter that she is not trans by saying,
yeah, boys are better at all of those things. But those are just things, Winnie. Things boys made up so we'd have something to be good at.
Wait. Was that insightful? Cause yeah, he's right. We made this all up. None of it matters. He may have not gotten to the part where gender was also made up by humans, but yeah, guys make this stuff up in order to feel satisfied with themselves. Maybe he'll actually say something grounded and normal about women having to navigate this patriarchy.
Women are better at all kinds of things. Better at doing lots of things at once and caring for a lot of people at once. And they civilize men.
You heard it here first, folks. The only things that women are good at are in relation to the men surrounding them. God, oh God, do I hate every single person involved in the making of this film.
Did mommy civilize you?
She tried.
So Coach Rob goes home and the reporter has already snuck in to tell him that he and his team need to get their act together. Coach Rob says he's starting to feel fatigued about the whole situation and that he thinks it's affecting his daughter, which leads to the reporter going on a massive tangent about anti-divorce rhetoric.
Do people not even do a freaking Google search before you decide to blow up the planet your kids live on?
Again, they were so close. Just use this line for anything else, like corporate greed or climate change, not why you shouldn't get a divorce from your wife who understandably hates you.
breeders.
What do you mean breeders? That is not your word. But the reporter tells Coach Rob that he should be focused on winning.
What we're doing to these women, to the entire concept of women's sports is wrong.
He says after showing multiple montages of women being bad at sports.
I've staked my entire future on this. These transhumanist tech oligarchs and nihilist college professors have already convinced every self-righteous housewife with Munchausen by proxy to sacrifice their kids on the altar of false virtue.
Oh, the writers found a thesaurus for the last 20 minutes of this film. Good for them. I'm sure their English teachers would be so proud if they were able to stomach the movie for this long.
I'll cancel you.
I hate this movie. So now we're on to the women's basketball finals for the Global Games qualifiers. And the Lady Ballers are now competing against the Skinless Cowgirls, who is another team of people supposedly pretending to be trans. The reporter is on their side now for motivations literally never explained in the movie. Like, to this day, I don't know why she did this. Like, if you're going to pick a team that, based on the narrative of this movie, is obviously gonna win, why would you even give a chance of another team possibly winning it? Now you have a 50-50 chance instead of a guarantee. The opposing coach tells Coach Rob that he had to go along with the reporter's plan because
She told me there's a sniper here in the Raptors right now.
oh, so now we're scared of guns. God, pick a side. But the Lady Ballers get absolutely dunked on through, you guessed it, another montage. With morale at their absolute lowest, Coach Rob decides it's probably for the best that they lose this game, which makes the aforementioned snipers start to take aim.
Coach, there's a little red dot on my forehead. I know.
Again, dialogue from porn and Marvel movies only.
Oh, look.
He's got a gun!
Again, I thought y'all liked guns, whatever, I'll save it for another movie. We then move on to what I consider to be easily the most interesting part of this movie. Alex confronts Coach Rob and says,
I am a woman. I never really felt like myself. This is the real me, Coach. This is who I am. Proud of myself for the first time.
genuinely, I am saying this with zero politics in mind and purely from someone who has been on the stage. This is the best acting in the entire film, hands down. This is the first time anything remotely genuine sounding has come out of anyone's mouth in this film. And I am saying this about a movie that is an hour and 50 minutes of endless, not at all subtle preaching. Even from a writing standpoint, it's the only decent character arc we see subtly written throughout the film. Alex takes good care of his wigs.
I nearly got grease all over my good wig.
There's moments where you really see him enjoying getting into character.
This is the best experience of my life, Coach.
He begins to carry a purse around, which I'm pretty sure is a designer bag, even though the entire premise of this movie is that he needs more money, but whatever. But of course, this touching monologue is met with child support dodging Rob responding with,
This isn't right.
You're confused. I get that. We all get confused sometimes. But you gotta believe me when I tell you this. You are not a woman.
genuinely f this movie.
How can you be so sure I'm not a woman?
You heard it here, folks. The moral of this movie is that when a loved one comes out to you and trusts you with something they've probably been battling for a very long time, physically assault them. The obsession these people have with genitals. Also, getting punched in the vagina still hurts. This proves nothing. But also, I don't know why I'm expecting the writers to know about the nerve endings around a vagina. So the Lady Ballers get back to the game and try to stall for time while Coach Rob executes his secret plan. They get in a fight with the Cowgirls and pull down the pants of one of them.
That's the biggest dick I've ever seen on a lady.
They literally only think about genitals. But all of this gave Coach Rob enough time to execute his secret plan, replacing the Lady Ballers with literal children. And if there is one thing I can guarantee you about this film, it's that they used this for the sole purpose of getting this shot for propaganda. So the Cowgirls feel guilty and start helping the child Lady Ballers score a bunch of points, and everyone in the stadium appears to be really happy with this. Which, even if they're joking, I'm not sure if the image of everyone had a great time because the self-professed trans women played sports with children is the narrative they wanted out of this. But while this is all happening, the reporter shows up. My God, she still cannot walk. But she has a change of heart after seeing the children play and licks Rob on the face in front of them. One last reminder that he directed this film. So the Lady Ballers still lose at a comically large score of 418-6. Which, jokes aside, we saw more than 3 shots being made by the child Lady Ballers. They quite literally have zero faith in the intelligence of their audience. Like, even after all these shots of the girls scoring 2-pointers, they show the scoreboard with a score of 0. This movie does not respect its viewers. But none of that matters because Coach Rob wins back the love and respect of his ex-child bride and daughter. So 9 months pass and the half-brothers' used car dealership now doubles as a youth sports center.
Kids will have a chance to figure out who they really are.
So by figure out, you mean they'll stick to whatever gender Coach Rob deems them to have? Otherwise, he'll just punch them in the crotch? Fantastic person to have around kids. Truly safer than any trans person I've ever met, ever. Coach Rob then gives a speech, and the masked lady from before is crushing on him during it because in the minds of the writers, anytime a woman is mad at a man, it's because she secretly wants to f him. He then asks his child bride ex-wife to have a picnic, and she agrees, because as we've all figured out by now, this is of course a fan fiction written exclusively for chronically divorced men. And we are shown the shocking revelation that apparently this was all planned by now wigless Matt Walsh and famously illiterate Candace Owens. Your plan to bring a man back to his wife was to fuck his wife.
Another Sweet Daddy Walsh adventure comes to a satisfying conclusion.
Sweet Daddy Walsh. I cannot even begin to imagine how gutted his browser history is. So the credits finally roll and we get a post-credit scene of Alex trying to get over feeling trans with a therapist played by Jordan Peterson, who apparently hates listening to all of this, so I'm not exactly sure what they're trying to sell here. Like, do you go to therapy if you're trans, or does it not work? What are you trying to prove? Whatever, I don't know why I'm expecting the writing to have a single thought behind it, but whatever. Thank God it's done. So that was Lady Ballers. Sorry. I mean, what can I say? Offensive stuff aside, God, what a boring movie. There was so much filler of useless dialogue, lazy jokes, piss poor acting that I edited out of this just to tell you this tale. I genuinely think that they just took every shot they recorded, put it into a 2-week free trial of iMovie, turned the exposure down to 56% because it was so dark, added a bunch of random absolute bullshit effects, and then pressed export. The movie is an hour and 50 minutes long and could easily be 35 minutes and still say the exact same shit. And frankly, up to this moment of recording, I'm not even 100% sure of what they wanted to say. Did they want to protect the sanctity of women's sports, or did they want to mock it along with women in general, encapsulating them into this idea of a helpless fawn who can only be rescued by big bad Jeremy Boring and his amazing movie? Far be it from me to speak for a woman, but I do feel like even if I was a cisgender woman, I would think that this movie would be just as offensive to watch than if I was a trans woman. Like, it just misses the mark so hard that it feels like a parody of a right-wing parody. To quote the Oscar snub of the century, Matt Walsh, what is a woman? Well, according to this movie, it's useless shot putters, god-awful swimmers, target practice for basketball short-laden crotches, BDSM-obsessed social climbers, ex-wives much younger than their husbands who are seen as nothing but a prize to win back, and lest we forget, a tool to civilize men. So women, trans and cisgender alike, had to take stray after stray after stray, all for the sake of Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring to spend $7 million on a film targeting 1% of an already 1% population in the United States. If you go onto Wikipedia right now and look at the list of trans athletes, and you can double check this, you will find that there has only been 46 notable trans athletes in the history of sports. Not basketball, sports. And of those 46 listed, only 27 of them were trans women. $7 million was spent in order to get more voters on the side of wealth inequality, climate change, fear, bigotry, hatred, all because of a list of 27 people. Is it not abundantly obvious how much these people come off as losers when you look at that number? If you are going to make a claim as bold as trans women and people pretending to be trans women are ruining women's sports, you are the one with the burden of proof. I do not have to just believe you. And when you make a movie that was intended to be a documentary but turned fictional comedy because you lacked the necessary evidence to back your claim, you fail the burden of proof. I don't want to end this video negatively, so I'm just gonna get this last bit out of my system, so please just bear with me. Fuck Jeremy Boring. Fuck Matt Walsh. Fuck Ben Shapiro. Fuck The Daily Wire. Fuck every actor in this movie over the age of 18. And fuck the parents of the children that had to act in this film and say a bunch of things on camera that they know nothing about, all so they could cash a check. Okay, I feel better. Now back to the positives. Happy Pride Month to everybody watching this video. I hope you're having a great month so far. Thank you also for joining me in making fun of this movie. If there was anything that I missed or anything extra you want to rip on, or if you have a good little one-liner against them, put it in the comments. I'd love to read it. I would also like to give an enormous shout out to the trans community who needs our support now more than ever. Y'all have uplifted my channel in more ways than I will ever know, so I will always be eternally grateful, and I will always be on your side to the absolute best of my abilities. Starting with our final donation number to Trans Lifeline, which totals to, drumroll, wonderful number. I hope at least one person from the Lady Ballers team sees this video and they know that they inadvertently helped a bunch of trans people by making a bullshit movie. Also, if you too would like to donate to the Trans Lifeline, I left a link in the description. And thank you so much for watching this video. Once again, my name is Blake. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff. It is Pride Month, so what better time to support a loud, very, very loud queer voice. If you'd like to watch more of me, I also stream on Twitch and YouTube Live, and I also post edited VODs on my YouTube Live channel. And I also have a weekly podcast called Keep Me Young, where me and my co-host Heather try to keep each other young by discussing culturally relevant topics. And thank you again to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. If you would like to sign up yourself, I've left a link in the description. Try your first fragrance for $8.97 and your next month for only $17.95. And a huge shout out to the people that watched this movie with me, Sarah, Charlotte, and Luis. Your takes were enlightening and helped me put my script together, and it helped me to bear going through this movie 3 different times. Thank you so much for that. And of course, we cannot finish this video without the ever important question, what have we learned? I think if there's one takeaway you can get from this video, it's this. To the LGBTQIA+ community, if you ever feel inadequate in this world, just rest assured knowing that you can probably do a better laugh take on film than Matt Walsh.